Can somebody get me in touch with Jon Jones? I have got to talk to him. And I believe I have his number, but he also might have changed it. The number I have is from like 5 years ago, and it used to be his number. But and now it comes up in green, and I saw Jon do a thing. I saw him do it just recently. And he did it with his phone, which happened to be an iPhone. Now, that's relevant. If somebody has an Android, I have an iPhone. If somebody has an Android, text can come up green. But if they have an iPhone, to my understanding, they come up green when that number is no good or you have been blocked. So either way, I can't reach him. And I want to talk to Jon so bad. I have a story for you guys. I can't tell it because I don't know if Jon shared that with me in confidence. I don't know. We got separated, but I was so into it. And it was an analysis here. Let me just tease you with it without giving. He gave an analysis on Ferreira, Problemo, and Francis Ngannou. And I will just tell you, it was so interesting to hear. I mean, his perspective, and I feel that Jon rhetorically isn't great, man. When that camera goes on, he gets a little nervous. When you see some of Jon's finest work, it's where he's having an interaction that happens to get caught on camera. But it has to be that order. If the camera turns on and then he's asked to have an interaction, he gets nervous. Okay. But I'm telling you that because his analysis was unlike one I've ever heard. Okay? And this is coming from a genius. We can't take that from Jon. This is a combative sports genius. The only thing I've ever seen like it was satire in a movie called Good Will Hunting, where Matt Damon played a janitor who could solve the most complex math problems there were, where he could go home and read a book and remember all of it, retain it, and understand what he was reading. And when that got described by his best friend, who also was his best friend in the movie, Ben Affleck, Ben said there's some people that can just play. They can just play. The great piano players were never trained. The great guitarists were never trained. They sit down and they can play. And as simple as that might sound, I don't have a better explanation for Jon's understanding of this sport, but he isn't marketed as such. You guys would not think of him as a great analyst because you've never heard him give an analysis. He doesn't ever talk about other fights. For example, he might talk about his opponent or what he's going to do. You can't find this anywhere. And I would love it. I want to get his opinion on two different things. First off, I want to ask him if I can reveal what he told me. So if you can't get me in touch with Jon, but you can get a hold of Jon, and you could ask that question, that would be great. I then want to ask him about Pierre. I just want to get his analysis. As the most successful light heavyweight ever. And when Jon was coming up, Jon wanted to stay busy and it didn't matter who the opponent was, all the way to the World Championship. He wanted to steer clear of Rashad for personal reasons. But when that time came, he did that match as well. But Jon was 23 years old. It's very different. Like a motivation that somebody might have at 23 years old is, for obvious reasons, different than, say, Pierre, who is 35. Is Pierre even 36 now? I think he just had a birthday. So I'd like to know what Jon thinks and how he would break down Pierre, how he would explain his level of success, what would be needed done to beat him, but also if he admires, if he appreciates this young man's attitude that Pierre has. Because it was the same attitude that Jon had, but Jon was a young man. Then, I would love for him to do this. Instead of giving an analysis of his fight coming up with Stipe, instead of him giving an analysis of a potential fight with Aspinall, I would like Jon to just candidly speak about a hypothetical matchup between Aspinall and Stipe. I want Jon to just stand back, take himself out of it, and talk about what he believes would happen between Stipe and Aspinall. And Jon right now is doubling down, tripling down, and as of this morning, from my eyes, quadrupling down on the idea that he's not going to fight Aspinall. Now, there is no truth to that. It is a troll move, but it's a troll move at Jon's expense. Jon is very sensitive, and a lot of fighters are. But Jon is very sensitive to what you guys think. What is your opinion? Which way are the winds blowing? What would impress you for me to do the most, just by example? And so when I tell you that Jon is trolling against himself, this is against Jon's nature to say, I'm not going to fight Aspinall, because he knows, so you guys all want him to fight Aspinall. Generally, he will give you exactly what you want. Generally, Jon will come to you openly in some form. I can share this. Back in 2013, when I fought him, it was no, 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 no. And before he said yes, he went to what was formerly known as Twitter and asked you guys, hey, I've started to change my mind. I'm thinking about whipping this guy's ass. What do you guys think? I mean, but it matters to him. What you guys said, it matters to him. So when he's going against the idea of fighting Tom and he's getting this pushback and this resistance, which he does not enjoy, it's great. I got to tell you, it's great. It's great because you guys you don't think he's scared of Tom. Most of you that are saying that Tom can beat him don't think that Tom can beat him. It's just your way. It's your playground, childish way of trying to get what you want, which is that match. And up until this point in Jon's career, he plays along. You win. You get to win that game. For the first time ever, you're not. And it's a very tricky spot, man. It is a wildly tricky spot. I have been on the other end of wanting to fight, of deserving to fight, of getting Dana and Lorenzo to tell me yes to my idea of a fight, and then the fight doesn't happen. Because the other side doesn't agree. And the opportunity that would exist over there. How badly I need it, how badly I want it, how badly I've worked to get it. And I will just tell you the level of frustration to the point of almost panic. So, imagine being Tom. Tom Aspinall has done everything right, and he got it the hard way. By the way, he came off the shelf on an injury, knocked a guy out at home in a main event that could have gone 5 rounds that he would not have been ready for coming off of an injury. Does one more match, gets turned away by Ciryl Gane, which wasn't even a title fight. It was just Tom finally takes a short notice fight, which is only 18 months from being removed from the sport due to injury, takes it on short notice because of the opportunity. That's the one where he won the title. He then defended an interim championship, which to my understanding has never been done, has never even been suggested. So Tom is finally, for the first time, pushing back and saying, stop, I have done enough. I want to be undisputed champion. I'm willing to get that the hard way. I'm willing to do it through Jon. I'm also willing for you to just give me the belt. You should have already given me the belt. I should not be defending interim championships. If we get to the point to defend them, it now needs to be the undisputed. All of Tom's arguments are fine, right? There is a point, an accurate point to all of those. But just imagine, Tom's done all those things, and now for the first time, he's saying, stop, I'm done. The next time I compete, the next time you call me and you want me to compete, I will do it against anybody, but it's going to be for the undisputed championship. Do you see how Tom's wording this? He's not specifically going after Jon. He's not specifically going after Stipe. That isn't his goal or his point. He has a different thing. He would like to be the undisputed champion. Tyson Fury ran his career the same way. Tyson Fury never was coming after Joshua the way a lot of the media told you he was. He was going after the undisputed championship, which Joshua happened to have. And it's just a different look into a competitor's mindset. It's fascinating. So if you're Tom and you hear Jon is saying no, not going to happen, well, you can hang your hat on one thing. If you're Tom, the exact same thing that Michael Chandler is hanging his hat on for the last 2 years, which is, yeah, the answer is yeah. I already know. I got an insight from the guy that decides. I already know. Well, not so fast, because if Jon says no, and adds the caveat, I'm going to retire. See, that's the thing that Michael Chandler doesn't have. Michael Chandler is holding on because he knows when Conor comes back, it's going to be against him. He doesn't know when that's going to be, but he does know that. He believes in that wholeheartedly. And Conor, in spite of all the mind changing he does, has never hinted at that he's going to retire. So if you're Tom, at some point you take a guy at his word, even if you're being trolled. And you do what, guys? You go and book another match. So the power that Jon potentially has from the troll job that he's doing, it's awesome. It's incredible. It's the first time he's done something like this. I'm in full support of it, by the way. I mean, Dana White doesn't know how to build or hasn't revealed to us yet how he's going to build Stipe versus Jones. So Dana is taking the Jones part and he's going a different direction. He's just talking about GOAT. He's just talking about all time, right? He's finding a way and he's getting headlines. He's bringing attention. He's getting media, but he's going from that direction, not about the match itself. And Jones is doing the same thing. He likes Stipe. And Jones understands if you want people to hate you, go after Stipe on a personal level. Go after Stipe in the media. You can't do it. Stipe is as close to a superhero as sports has. There is nobody as perfect as Stipe. So Jones not touching it. He's getting his headlines in a completely other direction. I don't want you guys to miss this. Don't get lost in the words. Enjoy the performance.